EA Sports. It's in the game.
Ready, we ready, we ready for y'all.
What's good, YouTube? DM Gaming here, guys. I hope everybody's having an awesome morning, man. All gas, no brakes. Baby, let's get to it. Today's video, guys, we'll be discussing the 4-2-5 defense and if it's going to be palatable for your teams in Dynasty mode in College Football 25. Also, you're getting a little background knowledge on these playbooks and stuff like that as well. Guys, I have some big news, okay? So if you clicked on this video, you're in for some big news. Now, well, I say big news, but something big is coming, all right? So I'm following Matt Brown on Twitter, and he's the guy that we have been knowing to talk about NCAA stuff or EA Sports stuff. He talks about NCAA stuff as well. But I want to read y'all some stuff, guys. I think some news is coming. If not today, then definitely by the end of the week. Today is Wednesday. I think we got some big news coming either Thursday or Friday of this week. I think that's when they're going to lift the NDAs. Anyway, so this guy tweeted to him, Matt, what day should we expect more news? And Matt tweeted, for those that keep asking me about this, my recommendation would be to subscribe to the Extra Points. The second I'm allowed to do so, that is where I'm going to drop the info. Might not be here. Can't say exact date or time, but it's very soon, okay? And he says down here, I'm not trying to be a jerk. I promise the newsletter lets me have more characters than a Twitter account. So he's able to type more on his newsletter. Not to mention, Matt Brown, you don't owe nobody no explanation. He's running a business. I don't blame him for that, you know? But he goes on to say his Extra Points, by the way, it's free. You can subscribe for free, which I recommend y'all do that. This ain't a plug from him. He don't know I'm doing this or nothing like that. The free one allows you 2 of those newsletters a month. And he said the free ones are typically on, I think he said Tuesday and Friday. NCAA or EA Sports College Football News had dropped on, I think it dropped on a Friday or a Thursday, one of the two. Anyway, so then he tweets again, does it cost to subscribe? I don't have money. He says you can subscribe Extra Points for free and get 2 newsletters a week. To get access to all 4 newsletters, it costs $8 a month or $75 for the whole year. He says here, good morning. Would this be a particularly good morning to make sure you are subscribed to Extra Points newsletter? Well, who can say? Certainly not me. He goes on to say, friends, my recommendation would be to not pound that refresh button every few minutes. Go have a nice breakfast, take that first work meeting, pretend to be productive for a minute, then maybe check your email, okay? And if you can't subscribe to Extra Points, wait 10 minutes and try again. Because people are subscribing in drones. And I don't know if information is dropping today, this evening, or if it's dropping tomorrow, because he's literally telling people, take that first work meeting. First work meetings are normally like 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. Pretend to be productive for a minute. Then maybe check your emails. Let's look real fast what people are saying. Will this be available to free subscribers? Some of it will be today. Oh, shoot. Okay. I don't know what situation. He could be talking about college football. He could be talking about other stuff because he does other things, guys. Will this be available to the free subscribers? Some of it will be today. Some of it will be tomorrow. And Friday's newsletter will be completely free. Okay. Is the embargo being lifted today? He doesn't respond to that. Obviously, he doesn't respond to that. Yes, a friend of a friend knows someone in the know and claims 11 a.m. is when the media people. Hey, so it could be some legitimacy to this. It could be some legitimacy to this because he literally, like I told y'all what he said. What did he tell y'all? What did he tell us? Right here. Wait, no, that's not it. Go have a nice breakfast. Take that first work meeting. So, and then he told the guy here, some of it will be today. I'm wondering, guys, if we're going to get some information on college football today. And if it's at 11 a.m., I'm going to have to shoot and do a video because I got to go to work today, man. We got a basketball camp we got to do. Please do not do us like this. If info isn't coming out today. Guessing 11 a.m. EA seems to like that time frame. Are we too late if we just subscribe? Guys, we might be getting some information today. We may be getting some information today, because he even told the guy here, will this be available to free subscribers? He says, yeah. Some of it will be today. Some of it will be tomorrow. And so what that means is you'll have a preview of it today. Okay? A preview of it tomorrow. But since Friday is free, all of it will be free. That's crazy. Thanks. Get out the way. Of course not. This guy wants to cash in from some news that'll eventually get leaked to release. And here's my deal. He's running a business. I don't blame him for wanting to, increase his profits, but he is being honest that it is free and stuff like that. He's been a reliable source. And the deal about it is, if the embargo lifts, guys, we're going to get information from other sources anyway. So this isn't your only go-to source. But dude, he's been the most in-depth. He's been closer to everything than everybody else. So I'm sure he may have some information that other people don't. Regardless, I'm subscribing to the free one. Now that I look at it, I'm probably going to go ahead and subscribe to the $8 a month one. Just in case we get that information, I can bring y'all every single detail. Does that make sense? So keep your eyes and ears close to the ground for that. Dude, that's super cool. That is super cool. So appreciate y'all for staying tuned for that. Anyway, the defense that we want to talk about today is the 4-2-5 defense. Now, for those of you who may not be familiar with the 4-2-5 defense, it consists of 4 down linemen, 2 tackles, 2 ends, okay, 2 linebackers, all right? And then you have essentially 5 defensive backs on the field. So personnel-wise, okay, let's go through personnel for the 4-2-5 defense. Your defensive ends, they're typically your... Let me state out by saying this. Everybody runs the 4-2-5 different. I don't think anybody runs it the exact same way. For example, at my high school, we're running the 4-2-5. Okay, there's little tweaks and differences in it than the person that runs it over at TCU or Alabama. Alabama's going to be running the 4-2-5. There's going to be differences in that. So take this with a grain of salt. Every defense is ran somewhat different, but they're still same core values essentially for it. And personnel is going to be different depending on how you want to do it. But the 4-2-5 defense is basically, think of how the pistol is a hybrid between under center run game and shotgun pass game. The 4-2-5 defense is a hybrid between a 4-4 defense, which consists of 4 down linemen, okay, 4 linebackers, all right, and 3 defensive backs. It's a hybrid between that and your traditional 4-3 defense, which consists of 4 down linemen, 3 linebackers, all right, and then 4 defensive backs. Does that make sense? The numbers when you're looking at the defense, 4-2, the first number always deals with the lineman, okay? The second number deals with the linebackers. And if it's a third number, then that's dealing with the secondary backs. But generally, you only see that in like a 3-3-5, a 3 down lineman, 3 linebackers, 5 defensive back kind of deal. Does that make sense? So in the 4-2-5, you got 4 down linemen, two tackles on the insides, and then 2 defensive ends. So covering what you're looking for out of your linemen. Your defensive ends, you're going to have to, in a 4-2-5, you want athletic, very smart defensive ends, okay? They're going to have to know their role because the majority of the time, they're just outside contained. If the offensive lineman blocks down, means if he blocks inside like this, then he's going to have to squeeze that. You know what I'm saying? If he blocks out, he's going to have to set that edge. Does that make sense? They don't do a lot up front with a 4-2-5. I mean, they're pretty much responsible for what they're responsible for. Okay, your defensive tackles, I say this with a grain of salt because, like I said, every defense is different. But generally, your D tackles in a 4-2-5, I'll put it like this: they need to be able to stop the run. Their job isn't so much to stop the pass. You need run-stopping defensive tackles in a 4-2-5. Okay, because they're not so much involved in the pass game. But the reason I say that is because a big weakness of the 4-2-5 defense is the run game. It is essentially, it's geared more to stop the pass, okay? The objective of it is by having 5 defensive backs, okay? And we'll go over what you want them to be like. essentially having 5 defensive backs allows it to where your linebackers don't have to get out of the box. Because what spread defenses do, you got to understand why this was created. Spread defenses, what they want to do is people think spread defenses just want to air the ball out. We talked about that in the comment section from another guy the other day. And they said that and we both agreed on it, that a lot of people think a spread offense is designed to throw the football all the time. It's not. There's a big difference between a spread offense and a air raid offense. Spread offenses want to spread you out so that they can run the ball. Their primary goal is to run the ball, because if you can't run the ball in a spread offense, you're not going to be successful, because it's going to be easy for teams to just play the pass. Now, don't get me wrong. If you got 4 dogs at wide receiver and a stellar quarterback, you can pass the ball all day, but that becomes an air raid offense. Does that make sense? So a spread defense, or a spread offense, I keep saying defense because we're talking about defense. A spread offense's goal is to spread you out so that they can run the ball. And a 4-2-5 is a good counter to that, because you still have your 4 down linemen for run support, but you also have your 2 linebackers, and they don't get outside of the box for nothing, because that's the role of your 5 defensive backs. It's similar to a nickel package, but there are some differences, and we'll cover that whenever we cover the nickel defense or whatever at another date. But anyway, the strengths of the 4-2-5 defense is that you get to keep your linebackers, get to stay in the box for run support. All right. And you're better equipped to handle pass support because you have 5 defensive backs on the field. All right. The weakness is just that you only have two linebackers. OK, everybody else is a defensive back except for your lineman. If you are going against a bigger, stronger, and I know this, this may sound dumb. Of course, if you're going against a bigger, stronger offensive line, you're going to have trouble stopping anything. But if you're going against a big running back, a great running back who's good between the tackles, the 4-2-5 is sort of weak to that. Does that make sense? Because it's not so much geared to stop the run as it is to stop the pass. So think of it like this. The 4-3 defense is great. Okay. The 4-3 defense is like we talked about with the pistol and stuff yesterday. The 4-3 defense is good. It's great against the run, or it has a big advantage against the run. It has a small advantage against the pass. All right. The 4-4 defense has a good advantage against the actually, no, it's the opposite. The 4-4 has a good advantage against the run, a small advantage against the pass, because you only have 3 secondary backs in a 4-4. A 4-3 defense has a good advantage against the pass, okay, because you have 4 secondary backs, and it has a small advantage against the run. Does that make sense? It's somewhere along the lines of that. You know what I'm saying? The 4-2-5, because you only have 2 linebackers, you're not as strong against the run. You know what I'm saying? But because they stay in the box, that's what gives you that somewhat advantage. All right. Your passing game, however, because you have those 5 defensive backs, it's great against the pass. It's good against the pass. Let me say that. It's good, not great, because you got to understand these 2 linebackers in the middle, they're not traditionally, and now we're getting into personnel for the linebackers. The linebackers in the middle aren't traditionally your coverage style linebackers, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? The reason why they're not is because they're not designed to go outside of this box. Okay. In a 4-3 or a 4-4 defense, you're going to deal with those linebackers who are equipped to cover. Does that make sense? Keeping your linebackers inside the box, the reason you're keeping them there is to stop the run. It's not to stop the pass, because you got 5 other defensive backs for that. And yeah, you're seeing plays on here where they're going to have to cover, but you're not seeing, you very rarely, aside from like here in the cover 4, do you even see that guy have to cover a hook to curl. Okay. They're normally just covering their area, a mid. They're just dropping back in what a typical linebacker coverage would be. All right. Secondary wise, personnel wise, it consists of 2 corners. Okay, let's start that. 2 corners, left and right corner. Okay. Then your inside safeties, these two are safeties, and people have many different names for them. One of them could be a rover, one of them could be a bandit. They can both be called, we call ours dog safeties. They do the same thing, just on opposite sides of the field. Now, some people will specialize that to say, okay, this is going to be my field corner, my field safety, and then this is going to be my boundary corner and my boundary safety. And when you get a little bit more in depth with your defenses, you can do that because the skill sets are different. If you're going to establish this a field safety and a field corner, those are going to be your rangy guys, your most athletic guys, because they can cover more ground. Does that make sense? And then if you're going to have a boundary corner and a boundary safety, those are going to be your corner and safety that's not as rangy as the other two, but are very good in run support. Or you know what I'm saying? You're slower guys. Why? Because in the boundary, you have another defender called the sideline. You know what I'm saying? So you want your weaker guys to the boundary, your stronger guys to the field. This middle safety is basically the quarterback of your defense. He is the most athletic guy in the secondary for the most part because he has to come down on run support at times, and he also has to he tends to have to cover more ground in the pass game. Does that make sense? And he has to be smart. He has to know where everybody's supposed to be. All right, that's your personnel. Okay, so as far as your schemes, like I said, even looking here, your alignments and stuff like that in a normal, your tackles are normally head up. Okay. And then your ends are in an outside 5. Okay, so your tackles are normally head up in a 2 technique. And that's how we run it. This is how I've seen it ran. There are different variations to this because I know somebody's going to say, well, we run it. They don't line up head up. They line up in this. That's perfectly fine. In my base set, the base set that I'm used to that we run, the tackles are going to be head up. Now, there are variations to this, even within our defense. You know what I'm saying? But in a base set, tackles are head up in a 2 technique, and all a 2 technique means is they're head up on the guards. Okay, the ends are in a 5 technique, and all that means is that they're outside shade of the tackles. All right, differences come into play whenever you have a tight end. Okay, and really, with the 5 defensive backs here, if you have a tight end, one of your safeties will be able to pretty much play on the tight end because if you have a tight end, you have a quarterback, so you've already got 4 down linemen or 5. You got your center, your 2 guards, your 2 tackles. That's 5. And then you have a tight end. That's 6. Your quarterback is 7. That only leaves you 4 open positions. Okay, so you can have a tight end with a doubles empty set, which would really give you a trips and 2 receivers because the tight end's a receiver. You would look at that as a trip set. But if you have a running back there and a tight end, that means that you're only going to have 1 receiver to the tight end side. You could have 2, but you only have 3 receivers left to work with. So generally you would see a tight end, a single receiver over here, and doubles on the other side. Or you could see a tight end and 2 receivers. You could see a trip set, 1 single receiver on the other side. You know what I'm saying? So, but what I'm trying to get at is this safety, your extra safety on the inside, your down safeties. Let's just call them down safeties because the majority of the time they play down. If they played back, you'd be looking at a quarters defense. Does that make sense? So anyway, your down safeties, whatever you want to call them. If you want to call them boundary and field safeties, that's fine. All right. I'm going to call them dog safeties for the sake of the video. Our dog safeties are down, or down safeties, let's just call them that. They're able to cover their tight end. Okay. Your corners, for the most part, are going to play a man coverage, like in your base. Like, yeah, you can play zone. That's perfectly fine. Okay. But, in your base set, that's what you're going to be looking at. All right. So if you were to have, let's say you had a tight end here, and then you have your down safety on this side can cover that tight end. Let's say you got a single receiver, corner's responsible for him. You got 2 receivers over here. Guess what? No problem. You got 2 guys to cover those receivers. Okay. And this is assuming if you have your linemen are going to be the same. You're going to have 5 linemen. Okay. That doesn't change. But if you have a tight end, remember, you still got your quarterback. And if you have a tight end, you can only have up to 4 other receivers. So if you have a running back, let's say a single back, tight end, 1 receiver over here, okay, you can see how this defense is good against a pass coverage, against a passing or spread offense. Let me say that. It's good against a spread offense. All right. And so vice versa, if you take the tight end away and you have doubles, 2 receivers over here, 2 receivers over here, 1 running back in the backfield, guess what? The receivers are accounted for. Okay? Let's say you have a tight end and 2 receivers over here. Only thing you would have to do is get this safety to cheat over. You got 1 receiver over here. You can leave this corner here. Now this safety becomes a high safety and you're looking more at a 2 high safety look. Like, the 4-2-5 against a spread is phenomenal. Like, as far as alignment goes, okay? As far as alignment goes, it's phenomenal. Hey, I want to run an empty set. I got 3 receivers over here, okay? I got 2 receivers over here, okay? No problem. These 2 guys play the 2 receivers over here. This safety cheats over. You're playing trips. And what's cool about it, because even Nick Saban runs kind of like a cover 7 type deal, where his linemen, his receivers or his defensive backs are lined up. Say you have 2 receivers over here. He'll bring this safety over. Okay. And what it does is it allows for another guy in coverage. He wants to outnumber those guys, if that makes sense. So I got some huddle film. Yeah, I got some huddle film pulled up for y'all from Texas and Alabama. And this game is from this year. And I just want to show you this to kind of show you defensively what you're looking at. Now, can this be a 4-2-5? This isn't a 4-2-5 defense. It isn't. It isn't on the surface. However, and the reason why we know that is because this linebacker is spread out. Now, guys, can you do that in a 4-2-5? Yes, we even do it. They're not going to always stay in the middle, but what you're not going to see is a linebacker lined up on a slot receiver, okay? That linebacker can widen out, but he still has a responsibility. You see that the 2 defensive tackles, they're let me get my marker here. That way y'all can see. Let's draw a line. Let's do that. So you have your 2 defensive tackles. They're head up on the guards, okay? I can't draw but 1 line? Okay, that's crazy. Oh, no, that's what I need. Hide effects too, boy. I don't want to hide that. He's head up on the guard. Let's delete that. Okay. Let's go to the end zone shot, okay? All right, end zone shot. Actually, they're more in a he's not head up. He's lined up in a 3 technique. Let's let them get set right quick. He's more head up. He's almost in a 1. He's not head up. He's in a 1. He's in a 3. So that, you know. Yeah. So they're not head up. Doesn't mean they're not running in a 4-2-5. They're really not, but it is what it is. There's different alignments for me. Regardless, what I'm using this to show you is how they line up in the secondary, okay? You have 2 wide receivers over here, okay? How many guys do you have in coverage on that side? You've got 1, you've got 2, you've got 3, okay? Let me see if I can draw my lines. Draw a free. Yeah, let's draw a freehand. That's what I want to do. I want to draw a freehand, okay? So you got 2 guys in coverage here, all right? I mean, 2 receivers here, all right? You have 3 defensive backs on this side of the field, okay? He's not even playing in the middle of the field. He's playing more to the field, all right? You've got a bunch set over here. It's a bunch set right here, okay? And your linebacker widens out. The reason you're able to do this, the reason he's able to do this is because it's to the boundary. By putting this linebacker, widening him out, he's splitting the difference between the inside receiver and the end man on the line of scrimmage. And he can still be there for run support, no problem. You can widen this guy out. Why? Because there's no running back. There's no running back. Okay? This is why I say Nick Saban kind of runs a hybrid 4-2-5. Like, he doesn't say, I think he says he run a 4-3 or something like that. Something to that effect. There is clearly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defensive backs on the field. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, he's able to split the difference between this guy because he is at the boundary of the field. All right? If this ball was in the middle of the field, this guy probably wouldn't split the difference. He would probably slide this safety over and move this safety over. He'd kind of go more or drop him down because you got 3 receivers on this side. Does that make sense? So with that being said, let me delete my effects, man. Let's delete these. Let's take these off of here because I don't want to see those. And there's no undo button. Y'all got to forgive me for that. Be patient with me. But you can see the kind of coverage that they line up in, okay? This is very similar to what you would see in a 4-2-5, and that's why people say, you know, Nick Saban runs a 4-2-5 because that's essentially what you're getting, okay? Snap of the ball, what do you see the linebacker do, okay? They're not dropping back, you know? They're keeping everything bottled in. Texas throws a screenplay. I mean, they break on it a little bit late, but they still get there. Not before the first down. Go Longhorns. All right. So next formation, okay? You have a 4-man surface to the boundary. Okay. Look at what the pistol formation. They're lined up in the pistol, baby. Okay. So you got a 4-man surface to the boundary of the field. And this is the boundary. The boundary means if the ball, wherever the ball is at, the boundary is the short side of the field. If the ball is in the middle of the field, then what you're looking at isn't the boundary of the field. The boundary is going to be opposite the strength in that situation. Okay. If the ball is on this hash mark over here, all right, then if it's on this hash mark, this would be the boundary. All of this would be the field. So with the ball right here, okay, with the ball right there, with the ball here, this is the boundary up here, this is the field, okay? So you still have your 4-down linemen. Your defensive ends are sort of stood up. Now, I want to look at the end zone because same thing, okay? Now, this is your center, okay? Your defensive tackle to this side, and like I told you guys, take this with a grain of salt. Your alignments are going to change based off of what they're doing, okay? But I'm using this to show because guys, I don't care. I'm looking at Alabama, bro. To me, they run a 4-2-5, okay? Now, your 2 tackles are here, all right? He's head up on the center. He's in a 0 technique, okay? He's in a 3 technique. He's splitting the guard and the tackle. This is for those of y'all that don't know, head up would be a 2. This is a 0. Head up on the center would be 0. Head up on the guard, the guards are 2 techniques. If the guy's lined up head up on the guards, he's in the 2 technique. Okay, head up on the tackle is a 4. All right. So your end is in a 4 right here. Your tackle is in a 0. Now your gaps, this is 1, this is 3. Okay, and then outside of that is a 5. All right. If you was head up on the tight end, that's where it gets weird. It's like it's not a 6 technique. It's like a 7. Inside the gap would be a 6. Outside would be a 9. Okay. It's really weird. It's weird in that regard. Okay. But anyway, so he's lined up. The tackles are lined up in a head up 0 technique and a 3 technique. Okay. Your end right here is lined up in a what? 2, 4. He's lined up in a 4 technique. Okay. That would be head up right here. This end right here is in a 9. Okay. You got a 4-man surface, which means here's your center. You got 4 guys to that side of the field. Okay. Expect a run to that side of the field. It's a 4-man surface. All right. But spreading it out, let's go to it. 4-man surface to the boundary, guys. Like 9 times out of 10, they're running to the boundary. You don't generally see them run to that side of the field. But anyway, look at your linebackers. They got 4-down linemen and they got 2 linebackers. The rest of these guys are safeties. This is why I say this is a 4-2-5, guys. It's lined up a little bit different. Okay. So with that being said, okay, Texas lines the running back up several times in this game behind the quarterback. This is now a pistol formation. Okay, if he was right here, it'd be a shotgun. With him being back here, it's the pistol. Why? Because these guys, you're not giving away tendencies that way. Does that make sense? Okay, so now you have 2 receivers, 3 receivers counting the tight end. You have your center, your guard, your tackle. You really have a 2 tight end set. Both of these guys are eligible because he's on the ball, he's off the ball. They're 2 eligible receivers right here, 2 on this side. Okay. Sanders is that good receiver, though. You have a 2 tight end set. All right. Snap of the ball. What are your linebackers doing? They ain't worried about no pass. They playing run all the way. Okay. Their gap responsibilities are going to vary depending on the plays. Okay. Texas, let me speed this up here. Sorry, guys. This is not an RPO. It's strictly a play action. I mean, because if they wanted to run the ball right here, that run play would have worked. Look at this. You got great blocking on the outside. You got the tight end able to release on the next guy. If they wanted to run this ball, because people say, oh, this RPO. This is not RPO. Okay. There is no pre-snap read along with this. I mean, could you pre-snap read this? Most definitely. Could this be a pre-snap read RPO? Most definitely. Okay. But either way it goes, whatever Texas wanted to do on this particular play, they're at an advantage. Why? Because you have a 4-man surface. You have 4 linemen. Let's go back to the deep set right here. Okay, the end zone shot here. You have 4 linemen to this side. Okay, you only have 3 guys in the box right here. All right, going back to the wide. Because that secondary guy, he's not in the box. He's outside the box. You got 3 guys against 4. You're in an advantage. You could run the ball to the boundary there. Is it the smartest decision? No. And you also see the quarterback checking out there. Look what he's looking at. He's looking at the secondary. Okay? This could very well be a pre-snap RPO. Pre-snap read. You can either give it over here or you can pass it over here. I don't know because I don't know their playbook to know. Because sometimes even in our playbook, guys, offensively at high school, it's a pre-snap read. A pre-snap read is different than RPO. But at the end of the day, it's still RPO. You can call it what you want, regardless. Okay? That run play would have worked very fine going to the field, but looking out here, you got a corner press and you have the safety playing about, 8-9 yards off the ball? Okay? So a screen is perfect here. He blocks him. By the time he gets down here, Xavier Worthy, boom, make a miss. I'm off to the races. You get what I'm saying? So with that being said, it makes it very simple to run against this the way that they're lined up. Okay. But because of the two tight end set, you got to keep these 2 guys on this side of the field. Okay. But you see what play they run right here. Fake it. Boom. Let's get it back to them. Design screenplay. That's why I don't think that was RPO, because look at what your linemen do. Look at what your offensive linemen do right here. They pull. They go out there to block somebody. Okay. RPOs, the linemen do the same thing every time. All right. But I'm getting away from myself looking at this offense. Defensively, you got 5 guys in coverage. Everybody's covered. Okay. Now, what I would have done differently as far as this formation here, because you have this, you only have 2 tight ends on this side. You got 2 defenders on this side. Drop this guy down. They're stacked right here. That's why he's back a little bit further. No reason why he couldn't play at linebacker depth. Okay. And then you eliminate that screenplay, or you get to it a little bit quicker because you still got 1 high safety. You know what I'm saying? That's the check that I personally would have made to that. Because now look, boom, he's coming here. He's going to get slammed by this guy. Bam. But the safety, and this is why I say in a 4-2-5, this guy right here got to be your best football player on defense, in my opinion. Because look at that. He feels that. Bow. He misses the tackle, but God bless. He feels that perfectly. He stopped a big game from happening. Does that make sense? So understand that. All right. Next play. And this, we'll go back to the formations after this. Okay. They're not lined up in a, you can't say, oh, they're not lined up in a 4-2-5. Yes, they are. They still got 4 down linemen. 4 down linemen, 2 linebackers, 5 defensive backs. The corners are just in tight because they're in a tight set. They're in a tight set, okay? You got your center, your guard and your tackle, center, guard, tackle. You have your tight end over here and a receiver. So you essentially have a double set, okay? Or a twins up top, single receiver set with a tight end. Your back is to the boundary, okay? What are the linemen lined up in? Kind of same thing. He's not head up, okay? So he's more in a 3 technique. He's in a 1 technique. He's head up on that tight end, okay? So head up is what? It's not a 6. It's a 7 technique, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, y'all. I'm still learning my lineman stuff, so be patient with me on that. He's clearly in the 9 technique. He's coming, okay? Look at what they do at the snap of the ball. Your linebackers, okay? Generally in a 4-2-5, your D tackles are responsible for A gap. Your linebackers are responsible for B gap. And then your ends are responsible for spill on the outside, okay? Tight end comes in motion. Now I'm in a 2 tight end set. Expect a run, okay? Tight end goes out, play fake there. Could that have been an RPO? I don't know. Tight end clearly is going out on the pass right. He's coming around to block the backside. Gives the ball up the middle. See that linebacker? Patience. That's what you got to have, okay? Uh-oh, sorry about that, guys. Patience right there. Okay, he maintains that A gap. That hole opens up. That linebacker's patient. He's able to feel right there. Patience. Great job by that linebacker. Right there, you just got to wrap up and make the play. Got to make the play right there. That could have been a tackle for a loss right there. All right. Secondary-wise, like I said, this is why I like what Alabama does is why they're really good at it too. You got your 4 down linemen, okay? Got your 2 linebackers, got your 5 secondary guys, okay? They're in a trips formation here, all right? You got trips to the field, single receiver to the boundary. Your back is also to the boundary, all right? This is why you can have this receiver play down. More than likely, he's manned up on Xavier Worthy right here. Your other safety, he can play. Your safeties at this point can play hash to hash, okay? And you have your 3 DBs on this side to account for the 3 wide receivers on that side of the field. You don't have a tight end in the game unless they put Sanders at a receiver spot. I think that's Sanders right there. I'm not sure. No, that's Sanders right there. But still, okay? Snap of the ball, does your linebackers, he can drop in coverage, okay? Because it's clearly a pass. You're not going to see him going all over the field, though. He covers his own. He covered their area. Everybody's freaking covered right here. You got a man beat right here, but your high safety, he can break on that pretty easy. Nobody to throw to, great coverage. Nobody accounts for the quarterback, though, and he gains about 5 yards on the play. What did our backside backer do? Cover somebody. He's responsible for the back. He covered the back on that one. Okay. This is where the 4-2-5, in my opinion, if you have a mobile quarterback, this is where they can get in a disadvantage, okay? Because what you're not going to do, okay, could you play all 3 of these guys in a man? Yeah, you most certainly can, okay? You got 3 defensive backs, 3 wide receivers. You're not going to man them up. They're going to be more in the zone coverage, okay? Your one high safety, he's going to want to help on anything coming across his face. He would jump and then may help over the top with the single high receiver right there. But generally, you know, that's his purpose. Your backers are going to drop back. But what happens here, okay, they definitely drop back. He's bailing at this point. I don't think he's manned up on that tight end. He could be. I mean, he's following him everywhere he goes. He's not in the zone. He's manned up on that tight end. Let me see if the corner's manned up right here. Corner's right here. Yep, corner's manned up. That's definitely man. He ain't playing the zone. Top side corner's manned up. Quarterback runs for 5 yards. Everybody's accounted for. Everybody's responsible. Now, how could you have fixed this? Okay. If I have a mobile quarterback, I'm not going to bail this safety out. The reason they bail this safety out right here is because of this man right here. If you got a dog at that single receiver slot, man, onto the boundary as well, man, it causes teams to do stuff like this. I guarantee you they bailed this safety out to get over the top because, bro, that's Xavier Worthy, and that man is about business. He gets an inside release. He's not running a go route, okay? At this point, bro, you way too deep. You know what I'm saying? But that's the play. Look right here. Guys, bless, I forgot his name that fast. But that's Texas's other best receiver right there. You got 2 guys over there. He's over the top of anything deep, okay? Understand the down and distance, too, okay? 3rd down and 5, you're in a passing down. All right. I'll look at one more and we'll get back to the plays. All right, you got a bunch set right here. Are you still in a 4-2-5? Yeah, man, they're still in a 4-2-5. It's still a 4-2-5. 4 down linemen right here. Your backers. Only thing they allow those safeties to do is to walk down. Okay, you can give different looks. It's going to look a little bit different, but there's still 5 defensive backs. 1, 2, 3, 4. You still got your 5 defensive backs on the field. Your linebackers playing in the box. These guys are able to read if it's a run and they can get to the ball. He's going to hang back because he's a safety net. Does that make sense? So hopefully that helps to kind of clarify the role of the secondary in this, okay? So your coverages, man, you can run any coverage out of it. Cover 1, cover 2, cover 2 man. Cover 2 man is where you're going to have 2 safeties deep, okay? Let's go back over there. Cover 1, you're going to have 1 safety deep. There's going to be 1 deep coverage. Let me say that. Doesn't have to be a safety. Heck, you can do cover 1 with a corner if you want to. But generally, it's done with the safety. 1 high safety, you cover 1 man's covering deep. Cover 2, you got 2 men covering deep. Cover 3, you got 3 men covering deep. Cover 4, you got 4 men covering deep. All right. Cover 1 man covering deep. Everybody else is going to be in man. Cover 2 is where it gets a little bit more depth. Cover 2 covering deep. You can have a cover 2 man. You can have a cover 2 zone. You can have a Tampa 2. Cover 3 guys covering deep. Everybody else is going to be in the zone. You could have 1 guy locked up in the man, but essentially everybody else is in the zone. Cover 4, everybody's covering zone. Okay, there's nobody else to cover man because all your secondary guys are the ones that are covering deep. Cover 1, 2, 3, and 4 has nothing to do with the linebackers. Generally, if you do have a cover 1, you're going to have a linebacker covering middle. But you know what I'm saying? Same thing with a cover 2, unless it's cover 2 man, everybody's manned up. Cover 3, everybody's in the zone. Cover 4, everybody's in the zone. Okay. And then you see the differences here. You got a cover 2, a crash 2. Crash 2 means, hey, we're in a cover 2, but crash is just a blitz. Somebody's blitzing. Okay. Crash 3, cover 3 with a blitz. Okay. And this is what the playbook says. Everybody's going to call this something different. They're going to have different names for these stunts. Free safety blitz. Okay. Max zone, everybody's in a zone. Right here, it's a cover 3 defense because you got 3 deep coverages. Everybody else is in a zone coverage underneath. Your defensive ends on this play. This is why I tell you need to have some athletic defensive ends because now here they're responsible for flats. Okay. This safety's hook the curl, and they're responsible for the middle. Rover dog 2. You see this play right here. Rover dog, okay, 2. Cover 2 is attached to that. Eagle zone, that's a cover 3. Okay, so anytime you're looking at your playbooks and you see the blue is always representative of your coverage. Cover 1, if you see 3, if you see 1 blue, it's cover 1. If you see 2 deep blues, cover 2. 3 of them, it's going to be cover 3. 4 is going to be cover 4. All right, that's how you tell what zone, what coverages they're in. They're in a cover 2. Okay, after that, it's just a matter of is it cover 2 man or is it cover 2 zone? You know what I'm saying? Now, you can get in more in depth with this kind of stuff. For example, let's find a 2 wide. Let's go back to that 2 wide receiver set. The 2 wide receiver set that we saw earlier. So, for example, this formation here, let's say for the sake that these two aren't this close. Okay, you could run a palms coverage to where this safety's rolled down, the corner is back, okay, and they play sort of an in and out kind of deal. The rolled down player is more responsible for anything in the flats, hook the curl, and then that backside or the one that's further back is responsible for deep. You could play a palms to that. You could play a match defense to that. Like there's so many different options that you can do that I also wonder with these defenses, are they able to even, you know, adjust to that in the game? Does that make sense? Like defensive adjustments should definitely be a thing in the game. All right. So that's your 4-2-5 normal. Your 4-2-5 Okie across. If you have this playbook, all it does, it moves your secondary back. So looking at the normal set, everybody's down. Everybody's down. Now, you know, this is where the depth of running a defense comes into play. Do I always want these guys down, basically press? No. I don't always want that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe on a short, a third and short, a second and short, maybe. 1st and 10, you know, maybe. On a passing down, if it's 3rd and 5, 3rd and 8, I don't want those guys down. I want those guys back, okay? But you see the Okie across. All it did was took the safety and it moved him to on these plays, the right side of the field. Okay. Now, where would this be useful? This would be useful similar to this formation here. Okay. Where let's go to the trips. Remember that trips formation we saw earlier? Let's go. Where is it at? Right here. All right. I would run the Okie across to this. Why? Because I only have one receiver over here. Okay. I don't have a tight end over here. All right. So what I would run in this situation would be a good formation would be an Okie across. Okay. Why? Because I now have 3 DBs playing to the trips and I still can let my linebackers play the run. All right. Remember, you still have a backside safety. Okay. Same thing in this formation. Okay. They have their 2 linebackers here. All right. They have their 3 DBs here. Essentially, they're in an Okie. They're in that formation. The difference is instead of this safety playing down, they got this safety playing back. And the reason they're doing that is personnel, guys. They're gonna have to have somebody over the top. Okay, they're gonna have to have somebody over the top, especially for a guy like Xavier Worthy, because we all know Xavier Worthy is that dog. And then number 5, Adonai Mitchell. Like, you got to have somebody over there for him. So it makes sense personnel-wise. They have 4 very good receivers. In Worthy, Whittington, you got Sanders, and you got Mitchell. Like, God bless, dude. That's why Alabama has to play so conservative in the secondary, because they got 4 dangerous freaking weapons. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention Brooks in the backfield. Like, I don't think people understand just how loaded Texas was. But according to your personnel, you know what I'm saying? You're going to make some adjustments. But generally speaking, let's say this is just your average team. You know what I'm saying? Let's say you're playing like Louisiana Tech. Hey, man, I'm going to keep that safety roll down. I'm going to move that corner back a little bit. And to the trips, I'm gonna just roll over that safety. Okay, in this formation here, Okie, that'd be great against a trip set. Okay, if I have trips to the field, especially if I have trips to the field, have him in an Okie set, have him backside, and then your linebackers can stay in and play the run, because we saw what happened on this particular play right here, because those linebackers weren't able to really stay in and play the run. You know what I'm saying? They have to cover now. Whereas if you ran it normally, these guys wouldn't have to cover. They're able to sit in the box, and the quarterback doesn't gain the yardage that he gains. But Texas takes advantage of this because they got 4 dogs at receiver. Does that make sense? So yes, personnel is going to require you to make adjustments to this. Okay. But generally speaking, if you're looking, I'm looking at the baseline normal. Okay. This is great against a trip set. All right. And then if you want to flip it, then flip it. So let's say, this is why it's important for you in game to adjust your own audibles. Okay. Because, hey, I'm lined up in a 4-2 normal set. They come out in trips. Let's say, let's look at what we got here. Let's say, cover 2 man or something like that. Let's say they come out in trips. All right. If they come out in trips and I'm lined up in a cover 1, I'm going to have these 2 receivers. They're going to bump over. The trips is to the field. They're going to be manned up. Okay. If they're in man, that means these 2 are going to have to flip. I'm going to have a linebacker lined up on somebody he doesn't need to be on. Okay. If I have trips with 2 receivers to one side, I'm at a disadvantage if I'm running cover 1 out of this formation. Okay. If I'm in an empty set, let's say they're in an empty set. Okay. But let's see what formation were they in here. Okay. They got a back, they got a receiver to this side. So let's say the same thing. I'm in cover 1. They got trips over here, and then they have a back and a receiver to this side. Then what's going to happen is the game is going to make this guy come over here. Okay. The game does program adjustments in. So now you're going to have one guy over here. The other secondary guy is going to come over here because you still got to have a safety in man coverage. Now I'm at a disadvantage on this side because if it's a dog over there like Xavier Worthy, you're going to be one-on-one. The linebacker is going to be responsible for the running back. Does that make sense? So in a situation like that, it would be good to run your Okie across formation. And I mean, you could do a cover 1 in it, but kind of same situation. This is where formation wise, he's already down. Doubles, I would go man in this situation, or you can go cover 1, cover 2, whatever. Cover 1 would not be good with a trips formation because you're going to end up with a single receiver not being covered. Okay, 3 over here, 2 over here. What are you going to do now? Your linebacker is going to be lined up on one of those guys because your safety has to play man. You know what I'm saying? Responsible for the back. You're at a disadvantage. Don't run no cover 1 against an empty set. Okay, it's not going to work out good for you. All right. But anyway, Okie across, all they're doing is bringing the free safety over. This is a good formation to run when they're overloaded to the field. Okay. You don't want to run an Okie set and have them to the boundary. Okay, so if you have auto flip on, they may go ahead and flip this formation to where your Okie is to the field. All right. You want your Okie, you want that roll down safe. You don't want him rolled down to the boundary. You want him rolled down to the field because remember, this is your best guy. And if they run to the field, you're taking your best guy out of the picture. Okay. You see a lot of stunts. You see a lot of blitzes here. The linebackers, you're able to do that because you're able to keep them in the box. Okay. It's not a whole lot of stuff, but a lot of your blitzes, the best thing you can do is probably blitz the A gaps. Okay. That's going to kill. If you're going against an option style offense. Okay. If you're going against an option style offense, blitz the A gap. That's going to eliminate the fullback because the fullback, most of his runs are through the A gap. Okay. If I'm playing you in NCAA in college football, and you run an option, I'm blitzing the A gap almost every time. You are going to have to beat me on the outside. I'm taking that fullback out the picture. Okay. But anyway, and then the overset. Okay. You have your overset and you have your underset. All right. Only thing over and under means, and you're not really seeing it here, more or less, because see, it looks the same. Everything looks the same. Your linebackers are still lined up, in the same spot. They're cheated over. Actually, yeah, they are cheated over. So over just means that you want to run your overset to the tight end. Okay, so if you have a set where the tight end is there, you can line up an over, and what it's going to do, it's going to bump your defensive ends and your linebackers. They're going to shift towards the tight end. I'm going to just make that simple as day. Over, they're shifting to the tight end. or basically you're going to have a guy over the tight end. I want to say there was a formation that we saw kind of like this. Okay. This is kind of your overset if there is one, because now I have a guy over the tight end. Your linebackers are going to slide over as well. Okay. In an underset, picture the same thing, but say the tight end is over here. You're shifting away from the tight end. Does that make sense? Over, I'm shifting to the tight end. I'm shifting my linemen and my linebackers to the tight end. Okay. In your underset, I'm shifting them away from the tight end. Okay. Does that make sense? So when is that beneficial to shift to the tight end side? Well, in this particular play that we're looking at here, they are shifted to the boundary. Okay. Your back is to the opposite side. Let's look at the Y formation to see where the receivers are lined up. Okay. Is this the trip set? No, that's not the trip set. It's the wrong play. This play right here. Okay. Two receivers up top. You got a receiver down low. The back is to that. They're shifted to the boundary. Okay. They're in an overset right here. They're shifted to the tight end side. Why? Because most time if this guy's down, they could be running to the boundary. He's backside though, so he could very easily be running that. They send a guy in motion right here. Now they're down right there. They could adjust to that, or they can stay in what they're in. Technically, they're still safe. You have 3 down linemen at this point right here, and you have 3 guys. Actually, you have 4 guys in the box. So there's no need for Alabama to adjust to this because you still have a corner here responsible for the pass. You still have a safety over the top. Okay, 3 down linemen now. Okay, 4 guys in the box. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't count this as a lineman. He's a receiver, but Xavier Worthy can block though. So they don't need to adjust. They don't need to shift to this, and they can still have a guy head up over here to help slow down this tight end because you only have 2 DBs on this side of the field, if that makes sense. Okay, he goes out for a pass. Hey, let him. Them guys see the ball. They see where it's at. You got a guy right here responsible for the receiver, Mitchell, and then you have the safety over the top responsible for the tight end. Okay, so that's what you're looking at in an over and under set. All right. The next one, under slide. Only thing they're doing is sliding the linebackers over towards the under set. Okay. Under, remember what I said, under, you're shifting away from the tight end. Okay. Under slide, you're shifted away from the tight end and your linebackers are slid over more. See, now your linebackers are, he's going to be head up on a 0 technique. Okay. Under right here, under slide right there. Okay. Under. See, they lined up behind the tackles. Behind the tackles, essentially. He's head up behind the tackle. He's shifted over into the gap, actually, because they're under. Okay, tight ends on this side here. Over, they're going to be lined up over the tight end. Okay, under, like I said, under slide in this particular defense that you're seeing in this playbook, and this is assuming that they take the same playbook and put it in the next game. You're just sliding your linebackers over. You're still in the underset, meaning you're under the tight end. Okay. Or you're away from the tight end, all right, and then you're sliding your backers over, okay, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? You're over the tight end, okay. Under, you're away from the tight end, okay. You're away from the tight end, but your backers are shifted to the opposite side, okay. Does that make sense? All right, and I think that's actually the last playbook. Nope, yeah, that is the last one as far as the 4-2-5 and the normal. So, man, an hour. We've been on this thing for about an hour, man. I love it. I freaking love it, man. If you made it to the end, God bless you. A lot of information here with the defensive stuff. And like I said, this is a really good playbook if you're playing against spread teams. Personnel-wise, if you're faced off, if your team doesn't have the best linebackers, if you have 2 solid linebackers and a decent defensive line, but you have a plethora of great defensive backs, the 4-2-5 would be a good defense to run because you got to think of personnel on the field. You don't want a slow linebacker covering a slot guy and something like that if you're trying to run a 4-3 or something like that. So as far as usage of it, like I said, I got a team that has great secondary backs. I have 2 really good linebackers, and I have 2 good defensive ends, not so much good defensive tackles. The 4-2-5 is an ideal defense to run, especially if you have really good safeties as opposed to corners. And the way that the depth charts work, you can even put those corners at a safety position. So if I have some good tackling corners that's not that fast, hey, 4-2-5, put them in there for those inside safety positions. Your big dog safeties over the top, 2 corners on the outside. So guys, man, I'm so freaking excited. So freaking excited. I hope everybody's had an awesome day, man. Appreciate y'all for watching. If we get any information expected to drop. Till next time, y'all. Thanks for watching. Peace.
EA Sports. It's in the game.